So you want to scroll down until you see Unit 6 Review, and then we're going to go through the review. This first problem asks us to find the total amount for each quarter. So what you want to do is have your horizontal axis and your vertical axis, and the quarters go along the bottom, first, second, third, and fourth. And then your vertical axis will be your signs. Then we're going to make the bars because we want to have a bar graph. The first quarter there were 52, second quarter 141, third quarter 84, and fourth quarter 35. Next, we're going to make a frequency distribution. This is ungrouped because we're going to list all the values from 1 through 10, and then we're going to find out how many of each of those there are. So let's go through the first row. There's a 3, a 10, an 8, a 5, and another 5. Second row, there's a 5, an 8, another 5, another 8. Third row, there's an 8, a 3, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 5, and a 3. Next row, a 9, a 3, a 1, a 10, and a 5. And then the last row, a 9, an 8, I can't tell what that is. And then, so make sure that they add up correctly. So you got a 2, 2, 3, 0, 5, 2 zeros, 7, 4, and 2. And when you add them up, you get 25. Next, we've got a categorical frequency distribution, so make sure you list the different categories. And then just fill in how many of each different thing there are. The first row is done. Second row, similarly. And then the third row, same way. Fourth row, no, we forgot criminal justice, so make sure you add that. And fill them in. And finally, the last row, fill those in. When you get all of the choices filled in, it's time to add them up. So you've got 7, 4, 8, 4, 1, and 1, and that adds up to 25. So you've got them all done. Next, another one where you have to come up with, these are categorical frequency distributions. So make sure that you get the categories first. List all the different categories. Oops, 60,000, not 80,000. And then 100,000. Once you've got the categories, then just go through and select each of the different things. Remember, you're doing less than each category or each style. So the first row, and then go to the second row. If you notice, I'm writing them one lower, and that's so that I can keep track that there's 5 in each row. Third row, fourth row, and the last, oops, one more, and the last row. When you get all the rows done, time to total your amounts. I'm going to change colors so that you can see the different totals. 3, 6, 5, and 11. And that adds up to 25, so we've got them all. Next. The median is the one in the middle, so what we need to do first is to arrange them in order. So I'm going to write down each of the ages here in order. Got the 3 20s, and then there's 2 23s, a 29, and another 29. So we want the one that's right in the middle, and that will be the mean, or median, excuse me. To find the mean, what you want to do is to add them up and divide by how many there are. So let's take the mean here. I'm going to use the calculator. We've got 41, 20, 42, 29, or 20, 20, 20, and 20. Oops, I didn't add enough 20s in there. I think it should be 183. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 20s, and I only put in 3 20s at the end. So it's not going to be 163 divided by 7, it's going to be 183 divided by 7. Mode. So for the mode, you find the one that there's the most of. If you notice, there are 3 of those and only 2 of those, and so that would be the mode. To find the GPA, it's really important that you don't change it into a decimal number. Just leave it as a fraction. So for this first one, you multiply the 2 2/3 times 4, you get 32/3. And in the second row, 1 1/3 times 5 is 20/3. 1 times 2, or I'm sorry, 3 times 2 is 3 times 4 is 12, and then 3 1/3 times 3 is 10. So you add that all up, it's going to be a certain number of thirds, and when you get it, it adds up to 32 and 20 is 52, and 30 is 82, and 36 is 118 thirds, and then divide that by 15, and remember that's going to be your GPA, and then you can convert that into a decimal. And then we're going to find the Q1. To do that, you have to arrange them in order again. So you get all the numbers listed there. There's 8 of them. So you want to make sure that you list all the numbers. I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? There it is. Okay, so we want the one that's in the middle first. That's Q2. So then the middle of the lower half will be Q1. and the middle of the upper half would be Q3, but we only want Q1. To find that, since it's halfway between those two, we'll add them up and divide by 2, and that will be Q2 or Q1, excuse me. Range is the difference, so we're going to subtract the largest one, subtract the smallest one, and that will be the range. Some people list them. Remember, the range is the difference between those two. Interquartile range, so first of all we have to find Q1 and Q3, and then we have to find the difference between those two. So let's list them in order first. There will be 8 of them again. Be a little bit easier if there were only 7 of them, because then Q1 and Q3 would each be a value that's on there already. Okay, so we've got them all listed there. Now we're going to find Q2, and then Q3 is the upper half, the middle of the upper half, and Q1 is the middle of the lower half. So to find since there's an even number of them, we're going to have to add them up and divide by 2. But then remember, that's just the two values of Q3 and Q1. To find what the interquartile range is, we're going to have to subtract those two values to find the interquartile range. Next, we're going to find the z-score. Z-score is whatever your value is minus the average divided by the standard deviation. In this case, our score is 69.7. Subtract the average, and then we've got the last one here where we have to arrange them into a table by categories. So we'll put down the different categories: 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, and 100,000. And then we'll see how many of each of them there are here. And first row, second row, third row, fourth row, and then the last row. So once we get them all tabulated, then what we need to do is to total up each of the different columns. We've got 3, 10, 9, and 3. That adds up to 25, and so that's all of those. There are 2 test questions on standard deviation. The review didn't have them, but you will.